Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, January the 3rd, and we are roaring off into the month of June with some really good fishing. Also roaring off into the month of June with some wind that we're having to deal with almost every day. But I'll talk to you about the wind and the fishing when I come back from this short break, so don't go anywhere.
Hi, I'm Captain Jay Cudworth of the Kokomo with Paradise Dolphin Cruises at Safe Harbor Marina in Wanchese. I want to invite you to take a ride out on the Roanoke Sound to see the majestic bottlenose dolphins up close. As a native, I'll be telling you stories from these waters as a boy growing up in Wanchese. Nature and history have combined to make this area unique, and I love sharing this special place with special people. So come on aboard with me and my crew and experience the real beauty of the Outer Banks. For more information, go online to ParadiseDolphinCruises.com. Again, this is Captain Jay. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Locally owned and operated since 1971, Billy's Seafood has been providing the locals and visitors of the Outer Banks with some of the freshest seafood you'll find. Not too far off the beaten path down Collington Road in KDH, Billy's Seafood has become a landmark for those seeking top-notch seafood at affordable prices. Billy's Seafood also has beer, wine, grandma's tuna salad, and other groceries as well. To see more, go online to billyseafoodobx.com. Billy's Seafood, putting fresh seafood on your table for over 50 years.
We always talk about Hatteras first, so let's start our circle around the Outer Banks right down there. And really, not a whole lot is changing on the fishing front right now, so some of these reports will be a little bit repetitious. But they had good blackfin tuna fishing in Hatteras. They had a few dolphin or mahi in the catches as well. And each day they get a scattered wahoo amongst the fleet, but that will pick up. I mean, in the middle of the summer, the wahoo fishing can get very, very good. It's not uncommon for boats to go into the double figures when the wahoo bite is really on. We're also having some scattered blue marlin activity down there. My old buddy Steve Culture on the Sea Creature, he's been catching one or two a day right along. So good for him, and other boats too. It's you want to put your time in, there's a decent bite to be had. Inshore, their boats are catching plenty of Spanish mackerel. They're catching some bluefish in just about every size range. And there is a scattered overslot drum being caught and released as well. So one of the changes we do have in the report was up for the offshore part of the Oregon Inlet report. They had it rough on Friday, really rough, kind of rough on Saturday, and had a really good yellowfin tuna bite. Yesterday and today, the bite slowed down a little bit. There were what I like to say the haves and the have-nots. Talked to Captain Dickie Harris, who's one of my key sources of information on the Fantastic, the Omi Tillett built boat that Dickie actually made it on back in the day. His catch, for instance, was 3 yellowfin tuna and a big eye tuna. So he was not in the haves or the have-nots. He was in the sort of haves, is what I would call it. But there were some boats that did limit out yesterday, and there were some boats that had no tuna at all. So it was kind of the luck of the draw. There were a few mahi in the catches. Did not hear of a wahoo, but wasn't as good for a lot of people yesterday. Inshore Spanish mackerel and bluefish, there's still occasionally a cobia to be caught, and not a whole lot of effort going into that. Yesterday started out calm, according to Dickie, but the longer they stayed out there, the windier and rougher it got. Pier fishing. We talk a little bit about the piers now, and in the rest of this ocean, the part of this ocean report, there is a lot of repeating things. But the Bonner Bridge, which they call it the Bonner Bridge Pier, but it's the old Bonner Bridge across the Oregon Inlet, did have a decent bite of sheephead yesterday. Jeanette's Pier is another pier report I have. Blues and Spanish mackerel, and some bonita mackerels. Now, that's a little different than a Spanish mackerel. Very good to eat those, so they had that. I'm starting to hear some reports coming out of Little Bridge now, which is right there on the Melvin Daniels Bridge on the Manio Necks Head Causeway, and they're starting to see a few speckled trout. They're a little bit secretive about that, and I don't blame them, because it's just a spot where it can only take so much fishing pressure at a time. And the surf report is also similar. It's sea mullet, blues, and Spanish mackerel, but you can add to that some croakers and some pompanos, especially down on Hatteras Island. So we had a little bit of activity there. Down on the point, it's Spanish mackerel, bluefish yesterday, sharks and rays, and every once in a while somebody will catch a drum that might be a yearling drum, definitely over slot for that. So we take a little break. Like I told you, a lot of the stuff remains pretty much consistent day to day. That's actually a good thing. But we'll take a little break, and we'll come back and talk to you about the exceptional fishing that's going on in the backcountry.
At Fishing Unlimited on the Nags Head Manio Causeway, not only can you get stocked up with all the bait, tackle, and amenities necessary to fish, but you can also be your own captain. That's right. At Fishing Unlimited, you can rent one of their spacious pontoon boats to go fishing, crabbing, dolphin watching, or just to cruise the Roanoke Sound. It's family fun at its finest. Half-day and full-day rentals are available. Be your own captain at Fishing Unlimited on the Nags Head Manio Causeway.
So the backcountry report is anything inland, anything west of the Outer Banks Islands. So it includes boat fishing and wade fishing, which is picking up. I did hear of several people that had a good trout bite on the backside of Hatteras Island wading yesterday. And if you listen to me, I talk a lot about a friend of mine over here that's a guide in Hyde County, Gray Davis. Hyde Guides is his company, and they've been really catching a lot of stuff. He shares willingly with us, and we're appreciative of it, but he's been catching a few yearling drum. There's been puppy drum and bluefish in the catches, and the speckled trout bite can be very, very good right now, although that season is still closed. So there's a lot of variety, and now it's not only boat fishing, but we're seeing some spots firing up a little bit for our waders, which is about the most enjoyable kind of fishing you can do. Still have not heard much around Roanoke Island, but remember last year was about this time of year when the bite on the north end of the island started picking up a little bit, and it was very, very good. So get geared up. You don't even need waders now, but you definitely need a good pair of shoes with some thick soles so that if you were to step on a ray, you don't end up like different friends of mine have and end up with a barb through the bottom of your foot. So keep that in mind. Get your gear together and go fishing. You're not going to catch them in the motel room. I hope you have a great and blessed day.